Look how little I am in the left-hand corner. Have I ever been that small? We're checking out Assetto Corsa EVO, the official trailer from Kunos. I haven't seen this before. I specifically told myself and forced myself not to watch it until I made the video. I wanted to, experience it for the first time in front of the camera. Now, there will be editing. I'm going to edit this to make it as short as possible. So without further ado, here we go. That looks pretty damn good. Okay, well, I'm very unimpressed. The car models looked kind of shaky. Some of the up-close stuff looked pretty impressive, like the texture on the steering wheels and stuff like that. Now, I don't doubt the game's going to be beautiful, like when you're in the cockpit and you're actually just racing. I think the game is going to look amazing. But what they showed here, I was just very unimpressed by the car models. Now, I have no idea how the game is going to handle, how the cars are going to handle the performance, like once you're actually in the car, like maybe it's going to be butter smooth, but like this looks really good, right? The detail is very nice. I would argue that it doesn't look real still. I don't know if it's the lighting. It's not what I was expecting it to be after all this time. Assetto Corsa already looked pretty damn good, and with the mods, this is probably going to be a much better base game than Assetto Corsa was. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of refinements. They've made a game in between this. They've learned a lot, and I'm sure all that new knowledge is going to be implemented. I was hoping there would be some form of dirt footage. With their passion to try to really make things feel as right as possible, I think they could blow every other company out of the water in terms of like their dedication to making things feel right. And if they implemented dirt physics from the get-go, it would only get better from there. The mod scene would just pop, pop, pop. It would just be a rally game like in a month, probably. It's not out of the question, I don't think. And maybe they just haven't revealed it yet. Maybe they're not quite ready to show it off. Hopefully. But this was very disappointing. Let's go ahead and watch it one more time and see if maybe something about this footage can excite me. But I mean, maybe just because it's not my cup of tea. I don't like this type of racing, right? Like it just doesn't excite me in general. So maybe if you're the type of person like that's into this kind of stuff, maybe this is like the best trailer in the world. But for me personally, it's not ticking any of my boxes. It just nothing. Like all the boxes are still completely blank. There's not an X in that box. There's not a circle in that box. It's just an empty box for all the boxes that they should have checked for me. I will say, like, about 50% of this video is wasted on toy cars, like Legos and model cars. And I get what they're trying to say here. Like, they're trying to say, like, hey, you're a kid at some point in your life, right? Hopefully, you didn't start off as an adult. That'd be weird. But you're a kid. You appreciate the beauty of cars, the excitement of cars, like the power of cars, and you want to own a car at some capacity. So you settle for like little Hot Wheels or building a Lego car, anything to roll around so you can kind of feel like you're part of that vehicle. I get it. So they're saying like, you evolve from a child appreciating cars into like a young adult that maybe can get a hold of a car into a full-blown race car driver extraordinaire. I get it. But I think a lot of this, like they had a budget on this video, right? Like you have to think of it like that, and they wasted like 50% of the budget or some amount of money on just getting shots of like toy cars and Legos.
This is not about your age.
See this footage. It could be the effects they're using, but it makes the car look so game-like and fake. Just how this car is moving, how the footage, it looks really shaky. Look at this weird pixelation. Now, this could also be compression from YouTube. I didn't take that into account. This could be, maybe this looks amazing in person, like when you're playing the game on your actual equipment. So let's pretend like all these weird visual artifacts aren't present and try to like just appreciate the car models themselves. Let me see if I can appreciate it like that. Let's start off with this toy car. I gotta see this beast again. I mean, the car models themselves, they're well done. And I mean, like, so you can see the depth in the paint here. This paint looks pretty good here, like the little bit of the orange peel going on, and the sort of a metallic finish, like under the clear coat. You can see some actual depth to the paint, and the fact that it kind of transitions from shiny to this sort of metallic flake look, depending on your, I guess, the camera's angle. That's impressive stuff. We've seen that in like other games, of course. Gran Turismo 7 especially, does it really well. But I was really thinking that Assetto Corsa was going to blow Gran Turismo out of the water, because Assetto Corsa doesn't have the limitations of a console. There is no limit to how good this game can look. PC games are pretty much future-proof. You can always just get more powerful stuff and then get it looking a little bit cleaner, or a lot cleaner. Edges like this, you can see like flat spots here. Flat, 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 flat. I think this is like, again, going into their toy car budget. Like, they paid this kid to be in this video. He had his hand on a car. Now he's got a hand on a car. You notice here, on this little circle, you can see some really hard lines here. And in motion, it's not going to look bad, but you can see all of these. Even to a degree right here, you can see a flat line, flat line, flat line, flat line on this part that should be round. Again, that toy budget.
It's driven by heart.
It looks like they have some performance issues too here. Like, so I'm sure this is like not finalized, right? But if you look at this footage, almost all this footage has very inconsistent frame pacing. Yeah, if you look at this footage, especially on this gray car, in the scene like where the headlights are really close to the camera, it's almost filling the whole screen. Right here. Like, what is impressive about that, like, super jittery, right? But what is impressive about this, again, is the paint. The paint and these reflections look really good. And I'm sure you can turn the reflections down and maybe get it more optimized. There's some anti-aliasing issues, it looks like here. You can see some pixelation in some of the lines, which is kind of odd. They're using a really distasteful blurring effect, and I think they're trying to hide the fact that their game engine is not running well. This car model in particular looks pretty good, especially on the front here. The front here could almost pass as a real car if you just kind of like glance at it. To my eyes, what a dead giveaway that it's not is the wheel. The wheel rim here, like the material just doesn't quite look right. But again, the paint looks amazing. The reflections look really accurate for the environment it's in. So they did a really good job there. The transparency of this glass here, this looks really good, and also the reflections. Right here is another good example of where things should be perfectly round, and there's just hard edges everywhere. I'm assuming they're kind of trying to compete with Gran Turismo with portraying their passion for motorsports and cars, especially like if they're trying to like be like, you used to be a kid. Look, your toy cars, you loved cars so much, and now you can appreciate them even more in video game form. Like they're trying to like really portray or get the point across, like, this is the game to have if you like cars, right? So it's a bit disappointing to see like the attention to detail stuff not have attention to detail. And I'm not going to discount the work that's been done here. Like, this is still great work. This is still, it does look amazing if you ignore some of the little stuff. But I was expecting a higher level of polish based on how long we've been waiting for this and based on how far we've come graphically. This cracked me up too here. This guy walking. You don't really move your hands like that unless you yourself are talking. Like, when's the last time you were talking and having a conversation with someone on the phone and you were listening to them and you were going like this? Unless you're like Italian or something like that. right? Like if you're Italian, you'd be like, you know, just make the guy's mouth move a little bit, a couple millimeters. You know, some people talk and barely move their mouths. Just be one of those guys. Unless this guy's a ventriloquist, you know, he needs to have like a dummy on his shoulder. I do want to point out that none of these people, none of them, it seems like, are actually watching these cars go by. It feels so weird driving by or seeing, you know, footage or whatever and just having to be like, you know, head's not moving at all. So let's watch these people in the background and make sure. We're going to watch this at slower speed. I'm going to focus on one specific area just to see if I can see like one person barely move their head. Let me see. Okay, this guy right here in the green shirt, he's animated. So he's got his hands like on his side or behind his back, and he's actually kind of moving around, but he's still not paying attention to the cars. When loud cars are going by and you're there for those loud cars, typically you watch them at least a little bit. So I'm going to give equal guff to Assetto Corsa. You need to tighten your game up on the crowds. Okay, this looks really good. The windshield looks really nice. These welds look pretty good. They look all right. The materials look pretty decent. So, you know, I think the majority of what you're going to be looking at when you're actually racing, if you like cockpit view, right here, though, in the mirrors, how low detail everything is. You know, look at the trees in the background here. Very super low detail trees. Almost no detail in the road surface here. Cars are very low poly. Looks like very pixelated. Especially like when you're in VR, it's really weird to look at your mirrors in VR. And VR is supposed to be coming out with this game, I think, on day one. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in VR especially, it's really important to have your mirrors look pretty decent. Because it's so strange looking at low poly stuff when you're used to looking at a pretty detailed environment, and then you move to your mirror and it's like there's like no textures on anything, and you're like, whoa, you know, it really pulls you out of the moment. Okay, so we got some I guess some dynamic weather is what they're showing off. Like the clouds, they look really good. Let me see here. Oh yeah. So one thing I noticed about this scene right here, a little bit disappointed here, but watch the rain and watch how there's zero droplets actually making contact with that little puddle. So right here. So it could be because it's in fast motion, but I don't see any kind of like defined water droplet ripples. It's almost like wind pushing the water rather than actually rain disrupting it. Yeah, you see the windshield here. Okay, the rain droplet effects on the windshield look pretty decent. Let's see that again. Yeah, that looks all right. Not the best. I think it's not as good as maybe some mods I've seen on the original Assetto Corsa. Now, I haven't been to this location in real life, so I can't say this is how it should or shouldn't look. But the grass, especially on this side here, just does not look very pleasing to the eye. Doesn't really give me a convincing feeling of grass growing naturally. It just looks like it's like I don't like the grass. The grass right here looks all right. So maybe it's kind of like an LOD kind of thing. Like, so maybe like when it's closer, it's much better looking and it's just really sparse looking. And they almost look like chunks, like blocks of grass rather than like individual blades of grass. It looks like here's my grass, here's my grass, you know. So I don't like that. The trees look pretty decent, at least from far away. So again, watch the water here. Like this looks like it's entirely flooded right here, and you can see the water moving pretty clearly. Even right here, look at this. They're very faint, but there are some water droplets still in the background, and there's still no ripples in the pools of water. And even with small droplets, you can see like little ripples form. This is kind of screaming like Forza Motorsport stylistically to me, like how this car is like almost highlighted. Like it doesn't look like it's natural in its environment. It looks like it's like almost artificially highlighted so you could see it better. Yeah, Now, there are some water droplets forming on this back windshield here, but they don't look three-dimensional. It looks like a two-dimensional texture rather than like a three-dimensional, like actual raised water droplets on a flat surface. So that's a little bit disheartening. Yeah, these just don't look like real cars to me. Like these don't even look as good to me as like those fake renders you see people when they like design their own cars and they put it in like really nice lighting. It doesn't even look that good to me. The carbon fiber looks pretty damn good here. Again, the paint looks all right. Some weird little lines here. Maybe it's a reflection, but the paint looks all right for the most part. That looks all right. That looks pretty good. This sort of chromed plastic. You can still see some pixelation here, so the anti-aliasing is either not functioning or they turned it off or they turned it low. So it's kind of odd that they wouldn't kind of like blast the anti-aliasing unless like the game just like literally is too overpowering for whatever their strongest GPU is that they capture this footage on. It's not perfectly round, but it's more round than the other car, so maybe they spent a little bit more time getting this car model good looking. This looks pretty impressive, actually. The lighting and everything looks really good on that. This was very unimpressive to me. I expected to see a little bit more suspension working here, and I thought originally when I saw this, it was kind of trying to show it off, but it didn't look like there was really much happening suspension-wise. And who knows, maybe this car suspension is like crazy stiff for track mode or whatever. Lifeless character model in there. See, they're not showing this guy because this guy would be like really blatantly, look, they're like keeping that guy's face obscured because, you know, when there's like a windshield or like some tinting hiding the character models' faces, you know, they're willing to kind of like stay at one angle for a while, but you notice on this one, like where it would just be this guy's face out in the open, it looks like they're almost intentionally choosing footage to obscure that face. and when you can see the face, this is what kind of screams to me. When you can see the face, they kind of zoom past it, hoping you're not going to like pick it apart like I am right now. Watch, like as soon as you could see the face right about here, they start speeding up the footage. That's funny. Boop. I don't know if that's what they're doing positively, but it seems likely they're hiding something with that. And shout out to the Assetto Corsa team. You know, you do good work. And my apologies if this offends anybody, but I am just plain not impressed with nothing I saw pretty much, except for like some paint textures and carbon fiber stuff. I know it's going to get nothing but better, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be open to modding again if they're smart. If for whatever reason they announce or whatever that they're not going to support mods, I am not going to buy the game. That's all there is to it. Assetto Corsa only has value to me if I can mod it into the game that I want it to be. Sorry to disappoint anybody if they were wanting me to say good things about this, but I am very unimpressed. Have a good day. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.